Welcome to my father's bookshelf. You know, dads have the most amazing ways of inspiring their children's dreams. I know my own father did. And in my book, Charles is also greatly influenced by his own father, who used to read him cowboy stories at night before he'd go to bed. But his father died in the war, and Charles is now homeless, living on the streets of Hell's Kitchen. And so he takes that dream and he boards that orphan train headed west. In this next video, you'll see me and my dad out in the horse stalls talking about how he inspired my dream to become an author. Hello everyone, Dianna Rostad here with my dad, Bob. We're going to talk about the setting in 1925 Montana in You Belong Here Now. So, many years ago I was researching the Orphan Train and I had my storyline, but I didn't know where to set the book until one Christmas, Dad came down and he brought all these amazing photos of the old family ranches in Montana. And it just sort of broke open this whole wide world where I could see all my characters inside. And, there was all these neat stories and anecdotes on the back of the pictures. And one that I remember is this one. This is my grandfather's ranch house, and he put a windmill on top of this ranch house. And some of the other photos that were really inspiring were all these pictures of boots. So here's Dad as a little guy in these giant boots, and there's these chickens all around him. And then here's another picture. This is my grandfather's cousin Genevieve, and you can see they're sitting on this porch, and she's got these boots on. It inspired this really cool scene, actually, and it's in the beginning of the book when Charles first gets to Montana, and he climbs onto this porch, and of course he's got to take his boots off before he goes inside, and he takes them off, and he sets them next to this long line of boots, and he finally feels like he's a part of something. It's a really cool scene. So, Dad, tell us, what's up with all these boots?
Gumbo mud is the reason. when it rains or the snow melts, it turns the soil into the darndest thing you ever seen. And when you're wearing boots or walking in it, the farther you walk, the taller you get.
Montana is such a different landscape than Hell's Kitchen, where Charles comes from. He used to sleep on the streets, and, there was so much racket. He couldn't never sleep, and so when he gets to Montana and it's so quiet and all you can hear the horses, chewing and doing their thing and flicking their tails, which you'll hear in the background during this segment. And he loves it. And, then there's this big, open, wide blue sky. And, he can see sunshine for once. And he falls in love with this landscape, But Charles, he didn't always live on the streets. He used to have a family. Back before his father died in the war, his dad used to, read him stories at night. Old cowboy stories, Zane Grey. And, Charles grew up dreaming of becoming a cowboy. And, fathers have the ability to inspire dreams in their kids, like me. Dad helped shape, my dream of becoming an author. And, he helped me so many different ways. It's unbelievable, like editing the book. One of the funniest things I remember is I wrote this scene, back in Hell's Kitchen with Charles. And Charles is forced into this illegal fight, and I write this scene, and I send it off to Dad, and he's kind of like, I don't know, Di. And I said, Dad, I really need this scene. Can you help me make it better? So he sends me something.
Yeah, I sent her a copy of a movie that Charles Bronson made called Hard Times, and it was about that era and fighting and stuff for prize money and stuff. And I sent that to her so she could get an idea what it was really like.
It was so helpful, because these are not fights that took place in big rings with audiences. They were grubby, and they had handlers and, people betting money in the background. And it was just really interesting, and it really shaped that scene. Even though it didn't end up in the book, it's definitely a part of Charles's backstory, and it's the reason he has all those bruises on his face when he goes onto the train. So the other thing Dad helped with was, shotguns versus rifles. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, How do you cock it, load it, and bang? So, but Dad was a sharpshooter in the Marines.
Yeah, I was a coach on a rifle range for a few months.
Yeah. So, the other thing is the old cars. They're from the early 20th century. I really didn't know how to drive them. So, Dad is an antique car enthusiast, as it happens. So, yeah.
Yeah, tires in the old days didn't last long now. They were made out of rubber. But, back in those days they weren't making rubber that like they do now. Mm-hmm. And the roads were bad too, mostly gravel and rocky and whatnot. And
Yeah,
people usually had to carry one or two spare tires with them so they could get where they were going.
they sure did. And here's a picture of my grandfather in Wyoming when he was a young man. You can see him there with his hat cocked to the side, and his brother's got a big tire around his shoulders. And is this a Model T, Dad?
Yeah.
It's a Model T. And you know, they're obviously making the best out of this situation. They're having fun. It was probably a very common occurrence, is my guess. So, you know, the other thing that Dad really helped me with was sharing his bookshelf. And so one of the first ones that I read, it was a Montana writer, Larry Watson, Montana, 1948. Great Montana writer. Dad's got a few more.
Dancing at the Nebraska Fair, Ivan Doig, and also Sweet Thunder by Ivan Doig.
You know, regionally we're all so different, and so, you know, just having the flavor of all these, you know, writers in the times really helped shape the attitudes of, you know, the folks back then. And so, boy, when you add it all up, Dad, I don't think I could have written this book without you.
No, I don't know.
I mean, from, you know, inspiring the setting to helping me edit it, and, you know, sharing his bookshelf, and always being my tireless reader. Thank you, Dad.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching my father's bookshelf. Happy trails!